Welcome back to the next episode of Meet the Pros. Today we're meeting with Terrie Schauer. She is an author of the book, The Mindful Landlord, and she's also a real estate coach specializing in joint ventures and the purchases of multi-family buildings or apartment buildings. And today Terrie's going to share with us the great knowledge that she has on how you level up from being perhaps just a single condo owner to an actual investor. Terrie, thanks so much for joining us today and sharing your knowledge. Please, how do I go from just owning a condo to being a real estate mogul?
Yeah, Paul, thank you for having me on. And so I think it's important to talk about this because there's a lot of kind of rah-rah in the investment world these days. And one of the most difficult transitions that I see people have to make is the transition from what's called like a mom and pop investor, so somebody who owns a triplex or a condo, into the professional investor class. And so like what's defined as a professional investor is someone who has upwards of 20 units. But so there's this kind of gap between the 1 and 3 units to 15, 20 units, at which point you're considered a professional investor. And the things that kind of hang people up and prevent them from leveling up in that way are lack of knowledge around specific issues and lack of systems. So there's really two sort of lack of knowledge areas. One of them has to do with joint venture partnerships. So we're all aware in the Montreal market what an average sixplex goes for these days. And if you want to buy more than one sixplex, chances are you're going to run out of down payment money. So that has to do with building joint venture partnerships and raising capital. So that's kind of one aspect that, people need knowledge and comfort around before they can level up. And the other one has to do with financing. So when we move out of kind of the residential, like 5 doors and under financing where you're borrowing against your personal revenues, one of the other things that happens is people kind of get tapped out of their own personal borrowing capacity. And then it's when you want to make the transition to working with bigger buildings, so 6 doors and up, when they're lending on the building and they're no longer lending on your own personal debt ratios. But the thing to understand is that that financing game is different. The type of file that you need to prepare is different. The way that financing is done is different. So, for example, the institutions will lend on economic value and not on your personal debt ratios. And so in order to do that, you have to know how to calculate economic value, and you have to know what that even is. So that's kind of like another place where people need to learn. So there's sort of those two like knowledge areas. Then the next area has to do more with systems. And because I wrote the book Mindful Landlord, I'm the first person to know that, managing tenants, managing properties can be a real time suck, and it can like really, be psychologically draining if you don't have proper systems in place. And so that's kind of the other thing. If you want to move into, investing as something that might one day replace your day job or might like significantly supplement your income, you need to learn kind of all of those processes that are going to allow you to do that in a way that's not going to ruin your life and that you're going to be able to scale. So it's like really the difference of like moving from that sort of mom and pop investor to having a business that's a real estate investing business. And in order to do that, that's kind of what I help people with, be it, through the book, through my podcast, or in consulting. That's really what it is to help people kind of transcend that and move to the next level of their real estate journey.
I think that's some amazing services and knowledge that you're actually able to help people with. I know for myself, like, I own a couple of condos, and the thought of trying to get up to that next level, it's very difficult and it's intimidating. And to know that, like, you started with a couple of condos as well, right? And look at you now, and that you've, gone through it and you've put the systems in place. And now I can kind of turn around and lean on you and use your experience to help me through that. That is highly encouraging, knowing that, hey, you can do it. So that's some very encouraging news, and I'm so happy that you're able to share that with us. What I am going to do, though, is I'm going to make sure that I have a link to your book so anybody can read your book. Start there. I'm sure you have great information to share in there, and I highly encourage everybody to get in touch with Terrie if you have questions about investing in real estate and really kind of leveling up and trying to figure out how that all works. Terrie will definitely walk you through it and help you get to the next level. Terrie, thank you so much for joining us today. Really excited to be able to talk to you today, and excited to get some investments going.
Yes. Thanks for having me on, Paul.